wasn't even necessarily moving anything. It wasn't really doing anything at all except getting paid. Ukraine could just as easily have bought the gas with no middleman and no markup. But Putin wanted both the middleman and the markup, because Dmitry would turn out to be handy. And so would the assurance of fantastical corruption at the very heart of the Ukrainian state. And so would the prospect of all the richest and most powerful and influential people in Ukraine being dependent on Russia's every whim. It cost the Russian gas company Gazprom a pretty penny, straight out of Russian government coffers, but it was worth it. Firtash would have plenty of cash to spread around to shape Ukraine in ways that Putin would appreciate. Some of that cash did go back to Moscow as tribute, but even more of it went to prop up a pro-Kremlin political party, the Party of Regions, which meant that a whole bunch of that money ended up in the bank accounts of the mercenary American political operative, Paul Manafort. And then the next few pages, 232, 234, 233, 234, are about how, not that long ago, before he was in prison, before he was running President Donald Trump's campaign, Paul Manafort cooked up a scheme in Ukraine where the politician came in and said, hey, this gas deal where this guy's being paid all this money to sell gas between Russia and Ukraine, this is a corrupt deal. That guy doesn't need to be there. Why are we paying this middleman $800 million a year in pure profit when we could instead just buy the gas directly without him in there, taking all that money? There was a politician who came into office promising to get rid of that deal. In response, Manafort engineered an elaborate effort in Ukraine to smear that politician for that. It's the woman there in the white coat. They literally got her locked up in Ukraine for her efforts to try to undo that corrupt deal, which the Kremlin had set up for this guy, Dmitry Firtash. She ran for office saying she'd clean up that corruption. She went right at that deal. She undid that deal. And then they prosecuted her for some vague allegation that she had something to do with the famously corrupt business of importing natural gas into Ukraine from Russia. Yeah, that is fantastically corrupt. And she did have something to do with it. She tried to clean it up. And so they prosecuted her and said she was the corrupt one. And that's how corruption can be really useful. Corruption isn't always a cancer. Corruption isn't always a stain. Corruption is something, sometimes they make happen on purpose. It can be really useful to unscrupulous and predatory political figures, right? That's why you might want to create it on purpose. And why Russia, in fact, has gone out of their way to do so in Ukraine, which has led to the situation in which our president is now going to be impeached for his dealings with Ukraine. I mean, the basic idea is that if you've created a tar pit of corruption somewhere, one of the things that gives you is not only the ability to control the people who are in that tarry mess, it's the ability to make new allegations of corruption against anyone who even brushes by that mess that they've deliberately created, right? You can weaponize that against anyone. So I think this is helpful to see that before they ever tried to throw corruption charges at Joe Biden for the great crime of him standing up on behalf of the U.S. government against corruption in Ukraine, before they ever tried running this playbook that they're trying to run right now against Joe Biden in Ukraine, they ran it the exact same way in the exact same country against another politician who posed a threat to a pro-Putin politician who had been advised by Paul Manafort. It's the exact same play. And then, as now, they used the Kremlin's guy in Ukraine, Dmitry Firtash. They used him to run the play the first time against that Ukrainian politician who they locked up. And they are using that same guy, Dmitry Firtash, again, to try to sell this same playbook, this time against Joe Biden. When we found out a couple of weeks ago that Dmitry Firtash had signed up two lawyers who are potted plants, fixtures on the Fox News channel, who have Trump's ear but otherwise don't provide much of a legal service to anyone. It was weird, right? Why is Dmitry Firtash signing up those two Trumpy lawyers? Oh, it's because they're going to try to Timoshenko Joe Biden. They're going to do that exact same thing they did to that politician in Ukraine, except this time they're going to do it to Joe Biden. They're running the exact same plot using the exact same people.
You're
Honestly,
not saying her name because you're afraid to
the second time they're running it now is now. The first time they ran it is in the book that I nearly killed myself writing over this past year, which finally came out today. And I will not bug you about it any more than this, but as of today, it is finally out there. You can see for yourself if you want to just skip to this part. The dry run for what they're doing to Joe Biden right now, you can start at chapter 19. All right, lots more to come tonight. We'll be right back.